most likely, or we've been anticipating, is who's coming to the mat now. John Anderson, who will be in the blue. Anderson wrestling Stenberg.
Oh, Jordan gives Richard a fist pound.
Well, we're buddies.
I get nothing. He did turn around and wink. I don't think Jordan knows I'm a huge fan of his.
Oh, me too. Not only a great guy,
I might ask him to
he's
sign some shoes for him or something.
Yeah.
No, but I love the current crop of Greco guys.
Absolutely.
Jordan, Robbie, and Andy Basic. I love those dudes.
Well, and
because they're all great guys, and they work their tails off.
Absolutely. And, this guy as well, John Anderson. Wrestling Mark Stenberg. Anderson's a tank. He just breaks fools. The difference here for him is he's bumping up from 75, where he's been number 2, to Basic for the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. Now he's bumping up to 85. He's not going up one weight class. He's going up 2.
Yeah.
And, look at him. He's big. He's a big guy, really filled out.
Now, why well, I don't know. You have the goods, maybe. Why did he go up 2?
Well, I think part of it was weight cut. Part of it was he wants to try a new weight class. Yeah. He's had Basic the last couple of years. Basic's now the guy. He's our first medalist in 5 years.
Sure.
In Greco, and I think he just thought he had a better shot going 85, and of course 80 is not an Olympic weight class. So going up to 85, that's probably the reasoning behind it. And Stenberg.
So trying to not just make a world team, but assimilate his body to make a run at Rio.
Exactly. Because he could probably win 80 kilos if he went there. I mean, it'd be tough with Rao and Provisor there.
Yeah.
But, he's in the mix there. He's in the mix here. Got a passivity on Anderson, it looks like. But Stenberg, one of these guys who, he's built. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's a house, but he hasn't done much. He's sort of been the 5'6".
He's always been 5'6".
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, now he's trying to break through.
Product of Illinois. I remember him coming up through.
Yeah, passivity here on Stenberg. Way close to the edge, and Anderson going to step out. And they're going to not give him the point. That's the new rule coming into play. They're saying Stenberg just ran him off the mat, didn't attempt a scoring action, so no points on the board. But the thing here to watch is with Anderson, he typically has tighter first periods, but he's so heavy on the head, similar to Metcalf, where he's heavy on the head and he just sort of has his way late in the second. So that's I've seen him be trailing with a minute left and then a tech guy on push-outs. So it's one of those things. You got to wrestle the full 6 minutes against Anderson. Be prepared for a war. So he's not going to give up.
Quarter 2 was nothing flashy, and then,
exactly.
he opens things up.
Anderson was I believe he was a silver medalist at the Military World Championships, as was Sidoris. And he's wrestled quite a bit internationally, been here for a while. Hasn't made a world team yet.
Put them parts here.
Yeah, so that'll be a second passivity on Anderson. So he receives a caution and loses position.
Anderson was doing the work, to be honest with you. See what Stenberg can do up top here.
Good parterre defense from Anderson so far.
Going forward.
See, he's throwing those hip punches down to the mat and really rolling that lock.
Short time now in the first.
Yeah, we're having a battle here.
Yeah, Anderson, I don't know why he got called for, they're going to call somebody, but I thought he was moving his feet much better.
Yeah, I mean, with this particular rule set, the way the passivities work, they're gonna put someone down just to put them down to try to get points on the board.
Right.
That way they have the chance to do the caution and one in the second period.
Right.
So, I mean, Anderson's going to get a shot. If it stays 0-0, I'll probably look about a minute into the second. Anderson's going to get a point, or not a point, the passivity and go on top. Get his crack on top before they start throwing out points. But for either of these guys, you don't want to rely on that. You want to get your takedown, get the push out, get a point on the board. That way you have the advantage. Because we've seen it before. We saw semifinals last year. Andy Bisic wrestling the guy from Croatia. Neither one of them scored an offensive point.
Yep.
But it ended up they gave Croatia the match just via a passivity point. It was 1-0 final, and that decided who was the world finalist. I mean, it's just one of those things. Now we have Anderson's going to get his crack on top.
That was quick. But they set it up right, you know.
Yeah,
if nobody's going to score, one guy's going to get a shot on top, the other guy's going to get a shot on top, and try to make something happen. And
what I like about this particular rule set is that they do get the shot on top. I mean, if you can't score, at least you had your shot on top. You can't complain. But there it is. Anderson gets the turn,
and that's very impressive. Being able to gut a guy as big as Stenberg.
And I've said this a million times after these new rule sets came out.
Slips there as he steps off.
If you're having a tight battle, it's 0-0. What's the differentiating factor and who's the better wrestler? It's parterre position.
Right.
You know,
but like you said, now this is where I'm concerned a little. I think that in a tight match, nobody's scoring. You put them in forced parterre, and each guy is going to probably end up getting a shot, right?
Yeah.
But the new rules, there's no forced parterre. I don't like it.
You don't get a shot on top, so I mean you can't differentiate. Or I'm just saying when you have a factor that you can use it.
Yes.
It's pointless to not use a factor that differentiates who's the better wrestler. And, you know, in my opinion, that's where the new rules fall short. But I get what they're trying to do, increase scoring on the feet and put more onus, you know, from the neutral position. So that's how it is in freestyle.
Right.
You have to be able to score.
However, it's running the risk of having 1-0 matches all the time.
Right.
Because, you know, if nobody scores, nobody scores.
Anderson, you see he's controlling the center, back to the center. Now Stenberg high dives in, but I mean, Stenberg, I got to be honest, he looks a little gassed.
Yeah, now here, I was just going to say, here's where you were talking about Anderson's pace and gas tank. Here where it could come into play. But you know what? I don't like what Anderson's doing right here. He should just stay in the middle. Just stay in the middle. Control the center.
Well, yeah, and from Anderson's perspective, you don't want to get hit with that passivity and have to go down. You would give up a point, and you would also give up position. So a turn would essentially, you know, lose the match for you. So you gotta still keep your pace up and keep circling and moving. But I understand what you're saying. You keep your back to the center, but it's all in the eyes of the officials here. Who's being passive? Who's not being passive?
Stay right there. If I was Anderson, I'd stay right there. They can't hit you when your feet's in the middle. Can they? I mean,
they will.
They shouldn't.
They will hit them.
At the world level, man, if you control the center, they're not going to bang you. From what I've seen, nice throw by Anderson, and that should do it.
And that will be the match. 4-0 for John Anderson over Mark Stenberg. He advances to the finals. He'll face Jordan Holm. That'll be later tonight. U.S. Open Finals, match one of that World Team Trials Best of 3. And they actually wrestled at the Dave Schultz, and Holm won 6-0, I believe, was the final score on that. Holm controlled the pace, controlled the entire match. But here we've got a good one, my man. I've been wanting to see this